Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith Malashevsky.
Welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly, take two. Uh, for anybody catching the VOD, we just had a little technical difficulties getting the stream going. So, Keith, for a second time, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Like I said, it was a little balmy, a little hot out there, so I was not thrilled, much like you are not thrilled with the heat either. We are not warm weather people.
Yes, as I said in the fake show, no snow this year, and that makes the heat even much more worse. Joe, yes, we are. We are trying to get our shit together. Good to see that you're here. Um, I gave Joe the rare personal message today, and I'm glad to see he abided. I was like, you know what, Joe, if you come in during the Sixers talk and say why are we talking Sixers and not the Flyers, I'm gonna lose it. And he's here bright and early, so props to you, Joe. Number one fan as always. Yeah, we're if everybody else is out there in chat land, drop in, say hello. But yeah, like you were saying, Keith, it's a hot one, and it's been the all week really. Even Monday was nice, all things considered. But
I was out there mowing the lawn all of Monday. So,
oh
yeah.
god. Um, so yeah, we're all dealing with that. You know what else is hot? We got a lot of hot sports coming in, Keith. It's all over the place. We got the MLS is coming back.
I mean that's the thing.
I, I had to mention it. I know everyone's. Most of our fans are excited about that. So, I
I,
get
I
a.
I don't have a problem with it. I I should do better. You should do better. We both should probably watch it, but that won't happen.
Well, I mean, you could, because you don't have, like. I kind of got the soccer hatred. Everybody knows that. How about the Union coming back before baseball? Yeah, even see, Joe? Like I said, I had to cater. I had to cater today. Baseball can take some pointers, and if what we're hearing is any sort of semblance of truth, we could be closer with baseball. But
Slightly.
I personally, and I'm just noticing this, Keith, and I'm sorry to get sidetracked, but it's what I do best. What the hell is that gritty behind you?
Oh yeah, that's my blanket.
That's a new addition, right?
It's funny. I usually just don't have it on camera. I think I brought it up like Christmas time when I got it. But yeah, no, it's hanging behind me because I thought the creepy, like almost like stalker vision would be good. It has like a normal gritty face on the other side of it, but like I don't
No,
want to
no.
like.
I
Yeah.
think you have it set up perfect. Yeah,
That's
don't
how
mess
I
with it.
felt.
Don't
That's how
mess
I
with it.
felt.
For the fact that it like blended in until, of course, during the show is when I noticed it, not
Yeah, I
pre-show.
was gonna say not pre-show.
But yeah, the gritty just I saw those eyes as I'm trying to look at you through the monitor.
I thought it
Um,
was a good pick, and apparently that was very, very well placed
we
for the
we
blanket.
just as we need gritty action for the playoffs. It's true. It'll be interesting to see like the mascot situation. I'd imagine it like every person that you add into said bubble situation that the hockey is probably going to be set into, it adds it's another person and you're trying to limit that. So here's my social distance solution, and this is on the fly. I'm just thinking of it now, but it's not that creative. Put them in on Zoom. You can have Gritty popping in on Zoom, have it something like that. Gritty get his own float. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. When we went
I'm
to,
I'm I'm going to disagree with you. I think that the mascots absolutely will be there. I think that they are essential team personnel.
I look. I'm not gonna say that they're not, but again, in the air of safety and caution, like for instance, I'm giving you some like madness to this to my thinking. The NBA is talking about potentially bringing two extra G leaguers to with each team. But if they do that, that's an extra 44 people that are
Yeah.
added. Now think about that in terms of now. those people are a lot more essential to the game than a mascot. Like the G Leaguers they're talking about that because what if a player, what if someone gets hurt or what if someone catches, the virus? That's why they want extra people there. So again, it's not that I'm anti-gritty or anti-mascot, because I'm very pro-gritty, but I do think in just the air, that's another body that's gotta travel, maybe even two, and then you gotta multiply that by however many teams are gonna be in the playoffs. So.
I mean, I think Gritty is immune to the coronavirus.
Gritty is absolutely essential. Joe, look, I agree, but again, I don't want to come off as the guy that's like, that's worse than saying I'm anti-Nick Foles, is saying you're anti-Gritty, and I don't want to come off as anti-Gritty.
I'm just saying. Small sidetrack of my own. Is that a Team Liquid Spider-Man shirt?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I've had this.
And I got the team right. Be proud of me.
Yeah, I had to rock. It's the first time I could rock the liquid and the liquid. But my new chair, I had to match it today. But yeah, I again, not to spend too much time on the mascot side of things, but I'll talk Gritty all night for the whole show if that's how we want to go with it, chat.
Gritty-opolis.
I would love it. I truly would. I'm not gonna come off as anti-gritty, anti-mascot. I just, in the air of caution, like in my opinion, bringing extra players would probably be more necessary than these guys.
I'm just looking at the fact that in my phone today I needed to clear space because I'm running low on space, which is terrible. And I found the Stadium Series game against the Penguins where Gritty did the zip line in. I'm just saying, there's entire empty stadiums for Gritty to play with. The possibilities are endless, Anthony.
Again,
the possibilities are endless.
You can add Gritty to the production. That I've never argued. Gritty can make the production, and he can be part of the show. I just don't know if he's inside the bubble. You know what I mean?
All right. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree here.
It's not. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying that's how I think it'll happen. Again, I want Gritty there. Let's not make it. Don't make me anti-Gritty. Don't shame me.
This is like almost like a prequel to what we're gonna have later in the talk.
In this world of political debate, do not twist my words. But no, I digress. We got.
Thanks for the sub, Carter.
That's Steve in chat.
It is, yeah.
Thank you.
I know
thank you, Carter Hart.
He has had the same gamer tag for, oh god, I think the whole time I've known him.
That's German for cold Todd. No, it's cold death. It's cold death. No, that's thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that.
Back in the Halo days, I remember him with that.
What do you mean back in the Halo days? It's Halo 2 reigns supreme once again, Keith.
It does.
It's alive and just as trash as ever on the PC.
Probably accurate.
But no. Here's my quick beef with Halo 2, and I haven't played it in a little bit, so maybe things have changed. But on PC, you're highly rewarded with aim assist if you use controller, and I got this dope keyboard and this nice mouse for a reason, and that's to use them, especially for shooters. So right now it's just been a little bit of a struggle in the Halo 2 world.
So what you're saying is that you're stubborn and getting penalized for it.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I am stubborn. I won't refute that. But, maybe they could just program the game correctly, too. But, that would be very hard to ask out of a Halo game. I know that.
It's not like a Microsoft IP or anything like that.
It'd be like asking Valve to do something user-friendly. It just doesn't really happen. So, I digress. Back to sports. We do have sports, right, Keith?
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, so what we were talking about Gritty. Just realized that's been the topic of debate so far, has been the essentialness of Gritty and other mascots. But what we were trying to do is talk a little Flyers hockey, talk a little playoff hockey. And we got a little bit of everything. Also, again, with the MLB potentially coming back or not coming back, Keith, you had something for us on the latest with that, I believe.
Yes, the MLB actually right now, the MLBPA actually countered the latest proposal, which was, I believe, 114 games with a 75% prorated salary, because everybody wants to hear about the money. The players countered with a, I think, 76 game season. That's what it is, as I look here. Actually, excuse me, that was the MLB did that. Yeah, 76 with 75% of the salary. The players countered, and they still want their 100%
Who could
salary.
blame them? Who could blame them?
100% prorated. But they're down to 89 games as opposed to 114, which is what they had before that.
Oh my God! Look, forget everything. Right, real quick. Can I speak as just a baseball fan?
Hey, go ahead.
The thought of an 89 game season, it makes my baseballs moist.
I know, right?
It's so perfect. And that's like, look, even as a diehard baseball fan purist, I want the DH to stay in the AL and not be a part of the NL. Like, I want 9 innings, not 7 innings. Like, I'm very opposed to changing a lot of things with baseball. But the one thing I've called for throughout all of my opposition is, man, shorten the goddamn season. It's too long. And in this, there's no reason to be playing games in April where there's snow in Colorado still. And then in November where there's, again, like, terrible weather. We can shorten the entire season, still get a couple doubleheaders here and there, keep things fun. But, it's just... It's going to be really fun, and it bodes well for the Phillies. The shorter that these seasons get really helps the Phillies this year, because what's the glaring hole on this team? Like, well, there's a few, but...
Yeah, they're pitching.
In my opinion, starting pitching. Most notable. Maybe bullpen. We can debate that.
Definitely.
We can debate that another day, which is worse, the Phillies bullpen or starting pitching. But... more specifically for the Phillies starting pitching, their 4th and 5th starters. Imagine a bot, like, you don't even have to use them. You can tell Nola, hey, every 5th, maybe even 6th day this year, that's your day. And just, oh man, I get so excited thinking about it, and then the realist sets in, and it's like, oh, we're not gonna have baseball this year, and it's pathetic.
I'm going to dampen your party a little bit, or
Yes.
maybe excite you further, but they are going to expand playoffs too. And the Players Association actually agreed to, in their latest proposal, to expanding it this year and next year. So they're basically saying, hey, we understand you're losing some revenue here. We're going to make up for it by doing this expanded playoffs, and we're going to do it again next year when we potentially have a full season. So... and the most important part before you get into that is, and this is actually something that's kind of, I don't know if hockey and baseball, or hockey, baseball, basketball are all on the same page, but the Baseball Players Association and the league actually, I believe, agree on this point, which is there's a clause that you can opt out of playing if you have a high-risk player or high-risk individual at home for that player. That has to go to like a governing board where they weigh all these things and see if they're actually true and all that kind of necessary investigation. But that is something that's included in all these talks from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, I like that. And yeah, getting back into the regular season kind of playoffs. So here's my take. If baseball is going to be a long season, that should be part of the playoffs. So if it's going to be 162 games, I don't like that we keep expanding it and doing things that are as stupid as a 1-game playoff, which is exciting as hell.
It is,
but I hate it. It's equal to 3-on-3 hockey. It's exciting as hell, but man, it just feels a little bit of a mockery. So as far as like, the expanded playoffs, if we are doing a shortened season, yeah, I like it. And then let's not do any one game, like make it a best of 5, make it even a best of 3. Like the one game wild card is insane. You play 162 games and then it comes down to one game. Again, exciting as hell, but it doesn't make any sense logistically.
No, I agree with you there. It's infuriating how they do that, but and I mean that's part of the tone deafness that we keep experiencing from the MLB in general. They don't seem to get that. We don't want to hear about the money and how they're disagreeing on it. They don't get that we don't want to see them disagree as much as this is happening. They don't get that we want them to make changes that actually matter, because these are things that they just constantly ignore. And what up, Murph? I see you there in chat.
Yeah, same to Joe Hunter, aka my dad.
Let's say your dad is in chat, yes.
But yeah. All right, our brains got scrambled.
I said basically the MLB constantly ignores what we want, and they do what they think is best, and it always leads to something that really isn't there. So maybe eventually they'll get it right. They'll shorten the season. Maybe they'll actually find a way to shorten the game. Maybe they'll add up those automated strike zones at some point to fix the umpires being cowboys all the time. Maybe we'll get things that we want, but for now, we keep getting disappointment.
Yeah. And as far as like getting back to just like the contract part of things too, it feels like we're pretty steadfast between the players and owners, and they really got to figure out maybe even a 90%. Like the players might have to give up a little bit just to show they're willing to, and I would hate that. But this whole prorated thing, and like personally, I think the players should be making 100% of their prorated. I'm not saying prorated. Like it should be whatever amount of games. You divide it, you subtract, you do the math. I'm all for that. Like I'm not saying that if a player was supposed to make $25 million on a 1-year deal this year, they shouldn't make all $25 million because they're not playing a full season.
No.
But again, it just baseball, specifically the owners, are gonna make whatever they lose this year up. Like they're still gonna make that tenfold over next season and then over. And I also was like hearing some numbers and like breaking it down, it was like there's still going to be about $1 billion for all of these teams to make. And it's like even after playing out all the players and everything, it's like there's still that. And then next year you can make your $40 billion again. Like
they will.
The owners aren't going to lose money here. They're just not going to make billions and billions and billions like they're used to making. And it's like that's why it comes down to like I can't get mad at the players for wanting their full in a pandemic. Like the owners aren't risking getting sick. I know this because I know that the players are still making millions, but the owners aren't going out there to get sick. The players still are risking that chance, and that to me means that they should make their money. I know if my boss said like a lot of jobs are paying more in this time if you're going in and working on the front line. I know my boss said, "Oh, we got to shorten things." But you know what? I'm good. You put me on unemployment. I'll come back when this is over. Like that's that, So it's like, again, you should never really like. I always tell people when it's against my point, like you can't compare your job to pro players. So I will keep that in mind because I just did it, but it worked for me. So I get that it's not the best, but yeah.
No,
y'all ready for the PS5 release tomorrow? No, I'm trying to get a PC, son.
I do love me some PS5.
I'm sorry.
I'm excited about it.
They should bring sports back and have fan signs waivers. Nah, because again, we have to like this whole waivers thing. That's just because you might not give a shit that you get sick. I do. So it's like, you're not are you going to sign a waiver and are you going to actually quarantine for 2 weeks after doing that? No. Like, or you'll say yeah and then you won't. So no, there should just not be fans. No, it's not then don't go, Joe, because you go out into the real world and you're contagious. Like, you're missing the point. It's this whole like, oh, if you don't want to get sick, don't go out. It's like, well, I'm still an essential worker. I still have a life to live. So this whole like, oh, don't do it. Like, that's a really ignorant viewpoint.
Yeah, it's the people going to the stores and things like that you need to get out and do, because there's certain things you just can't get without doing it on your own. I mean, it's a general safety thing, and there is going to be a second wave come the fall. You know, we're already seeing a little bit after Memorial Day weekend, so you know, this is best in the short term. Although right now, speaking of, the NFL is actually already saying that they're still going ahead with fans, at least.
Yeah,
you know,
but they're saying that so they can take you, like, specifically, Keith, your money. You're a season ticket holder.
Oh yeah.
It's so
They already
again,
have. They already have taken that money.
Billionaires don't get to be billionaires by being kind-hearted people. Like, I mean, even the good ones, even like Jeffrey Lurie, still got that little bit of scumbag in him because he wants your money still. Like, they're just acting like and nothing has gone wrong, but it's like you're gonna have to cut preseason games. You're not gonna have fans. Like, I do say this: I am optimistic or hoping that we can maybe get like 5,000 people in and have things done in a safe environment. If the certain health experts can come up with plans and they're looking into it, that would be fantastic. Because I mean, we've seen Marlins games. We know what a stadium looks like with 5,000 fans. I would be awesome. So we'll see.
Yeah, NASCAR bringing back fans, that doesn't surprise me.
Probably at a rate. The NASCAR events are outside, so and it's probably going to be at the same thing. It's probably going to be about 5,000, much less capacity. And again, I'm okay with that. But this whole like, oh, you could just sign a waiver, and like if health experts say that it's okay, I'm okay with it. But this whole like notion that like, oh, let's just sign waivers and it's anarchy. Nah, that doesn't work. And again, yes, if football and baseball, if it's deemed that it's healthy, I'm all for it. But you said we should just sign waivers and like ignore rules, and that's I don't agree with that. Or you didn't say ignore rules. Maybe I read into that wrong. But I digress. Getting into it, but yeah, this whole thing with baseball, just to like wrap it up, as far as the baseball part, because I have it specifically written down. I keep feeling like we might just not get a season.
That's a very strong chance. A lot of people feel that way.
And if that's the case, it's going to be a damn shame that we don't get, like, we got 12 more years of Bryce Harper, and you still get 12 more years. And that's just, now he's a year older. You lose a year of Bryce Harper in his prime. You lose a year of Aaron Nola in his prime. JT Realmuto. Like, some of these guys are just literally primed and ready.
And they've already agreed, regardless if they play or not, that these contracts are rolling over another year. They're losing service time as well. Not even just the fact that talent-wise they're aging, but like that Realmuto, that's an arbitrated contract. He's a free agent next year.
Yeah. So you might even JT Realmuto could have potentially played his last game as a Philly. Like, as a Phillies fan, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to be optimistic, because if we do get a season, it bodes well for us, and I think our chances are stronger, because not having to use your fourth and fifth starter helps, and potentially you could expand your bullpen with that. But if we lose this season, again, selfishly as a Phillies fan and just as a baseball fan in general, it would suck. But these contracts, this team was, when you signed Harper for 13 years, it wasn't to win in year 12 and 13. It was to win in year 1, 2, and 3. And it would just, it would kind of suck. It would kind of suck.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an unfortunate part of the situation. Nobody wants to see pieces that you've somehow managed to collect, given the inept front office, go to waste. And, you have Joe Girardi now. Let's see what he has. I just feel like there is so much that the owners could be giving to get this done if they really, truly wanted to make this happen, and they're just not. So it's just upsetting to see this happen, and the fact that I just like being able to go to the ballpark, which even now wouldn't be a thing, but I just like being able to sit there. I remember the hype of last year, sitting and watching Bryce Harper's first game as a Philly.
The first 2 months, every time he went out to write the thing that he's doing with the fans, and it's like, yeah, it would certainly, it either way, fans or not. I know at the beginning of all this, I was like, I can wait for. Now that it's like, now that we're kind of settled in and everything, it's like, all right, I can do sports, without fans. I just kind of want some. So yeah.
Joe does have a point. Kind of, and I thought about this angle earlier when you were telling me, like, hey, we're going to talk about this. Do you really lose a year though, since they don't play? They don't get that wear and tear on their body, but you do still lose a little testosterone. You still lose a little bit of your athletic ability, Joe. That's just my opinion. But it is less wear and tear, so they aren't as beat up.
Yeah, there's a slight positive. That there's less mileage on that engine toward the end of the 13th, but yeah, I just like it's just science and genetics. Like you're gonna be a better baseball player more likely at 29 than at 31, or you know what I mean? Like it's things like that. But
yeah, the NBA is definitely benefiting from that. Ben Simmons getting healthy, Embiid getting healthy, people like that getting healthy.
Josh Richardson.
To your point.
He had the hamstrings before all this. And we can even use this a little bit to slide in. We are gonna have some NBA talk. You know what? No, I don't want to, because I want to talk Flyers before we do.
I was say yeah.
So let me. We'll put NBA to the side. It was just a real smooth transition, and I got the host in me got a little excited.
There's also players like JVR that are getting healthy, and Nolan Patrick that has had time to get healthy.
Yeah, but Nolan Patrick's not coming back.
Stop playing with my emotions.
I mean, you're playing with your own emotions, thinking that he could come back.
I like to be optimistic.
All of the experts have said he's going to be coming back next year. So
yeah, I know.
I just go off of that. I'm not an expert.
Well,
I can tell you that much.
Yeah, he hasn't played it all this year, so he's just not going. They're gonna let him rest.
Yeah, and again, you're pretty good at center this year. We were talking about this.
I know.
Last show, I think it was maybe 2 shows ago. We're good right now. Let them get healthy. Migraines suck. I know. I'm going through one right now. That's why we had a little bit of a delayed start. So I get them once a month, where they just shut me down. So yeah, it's
usually on a show night.
It's 90% of the time it's on a Wednesday, and it's really terrible. But I just try to fight through it, and I don't even let people know. In fact, I wanted coffee before the show. Forgot that, but I think I'm a little on the dehydrated side, so we're good with the water today. That's WOODER. That's Philadelphia for H2O, water. Steve likes that one if he's still in chat. I was getting made fun of through the Discord for that the other day. But yeah, as far as you guys are saying, even Lindblom, yeah, Lindblom is that is, for all of the negative that 2020 has brought, man, that kid gives me hope. That kid gives me inspiration.
Fighting through it.
That's just I'm sitting here complaining about a migraine, and the kid's he just fought cancer. So yeah, Oscar Strong. We're always going to be Oscar Strong. Yeah, you're right. He was leading the team. Look, Joe, you're 100%. He was leading the team in points when he went down. Or was it points or was it in goals? So potentially
I think
both.
It was points.
But yeah, he was leading the team. He was having a dominant year. And look, and it feels kind of one way or another to talk sports right through that, but credit to the Flyers for handling that, first off, as an organization with class, just throughout the whole, and shout out to everyone, shout out to Sidney Crosby, we don't get to say that as Flyers fans a lot, but shout out to the Penguins and tons of organizations that held that. But on the ice, the Flyers just handled that with, they didn't really skip a beat. Other guys started picking it up around them at that time. And even, you went out and at the deadline and you picked up, some pieces to help it out. So, yeah. And again, as we talked about a couple times, a couple shows ago, when we finally discovered that hockey was coming back, the Flyers have gotten heavily rewarded for that last minute rush. They got heavily rewarded, and they could potentially um, get the first seed now.
They could really be the 1 seed.
Which even the most optimistic of Flyers fans probably couldn't see happening.
No, Boston was on a tear this year, which maybe this slowdown it helps.
And look, and I hear this a lot. And real quick, does this cup count as much as every other one?
Yes.
Does this NBA championship count as much as every other one?
I will assume so on that. There's actually players that even say that this counts as much as the any other one.
Yeah, look, it's something that's like, it's weirdly, I feel like people ask me that a lot throughout the quarantine, like at work. Like, I'm like, because I'm known now as the sports guy. I've been on my job for like 2 years. People have caught on, and that's like the one thing. I guess it's like easy for a casual person to ask.
Yeah.
And they know that's like all people know to talk to me about is sports, and I appreciate that. That's all I want to talk to them about. So they, they'll be like, does it count? Like one dude was like kind of doing it tongue in cheek. Will LeBron's championship count this year when he wins it? Kind of saying that the Lakers are going to win the NBA title. And I was like, hey man, my answer was, I'm gonna count it when the Flyers win the cup. So yeah, that was my counter to it.
It's a nice counter.
And yeah, I do think that look, everyone's in the same position throughout every sport. So yeah, it counts. It absolutely counts. Everyone's going through it. Even if baseball comes back and does a 42-game season, that counts, because every other team, no one team, is like. Every team was in the same situation. No one team could prepare better or worse for it. So
no, and they really hammered out this playoff format in the NHL to make it meaningful. The top seeds that are doing the round robin, meaningful games. They have everything set up for ties based on the regular season point. The next series that ends up doing that 16-team series is 7-game series. They wouldn't let them shorten those series, which means you still get that full hockey playoff feeling, even though, that butts them right up against that fall, which could be a problem with second wave corona and things like that. They're willing to go and play into that because they want the integrity to be there. They want to make sure that this is not something that goes and feels cheapened at any point for the fans or for the players.
Yeah, I agree. Hell yeah, it counts, says Murph in chat. Yeah, it's, again, everyone's in the same boat. So I agree, it counts. And yeah, I think it was Joe in chat, the sudden stop and then startup is crazy, especially considering you're going to be going into a playoff tournament, which is why it's great that the Flyers have this round robin. And with that, I'd like to talk about, how do you want to use... Jay Ziggy just subscribed. It's our first 2-month subscription, so thank you for that. Ooh. Jamie. So yeah, and man, that sub button just throws me off track. But yeah, let's see those War Room Phillies in chat. By the way, where are they at? This whole the stop and go, it's crazy, and I want to talk about how should the Flyers handle throughout the round robin tournament the goaltender situation. Should they work, like, we're all assuming Carter Hart is the starter, yes, but should they work Moose in for a game? Should Brian Elliott get a start during this tournament, the round robin tournament, just to keep him sharp?
I'm going to say this. Unless there is a specific reason why you need to, Carter Hart needs to be in every game. Like, I can't stress that enough. He needs the experience. He needs to be there. If you're worried about him being worn out, I could see that. But I think the best case scenario is to see him play as much as possible.
Yeah, the whole worn out. He just had a couple months rest, right? He just had basically an off season in the middle of the season.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you. even if there's not a shot for them to get the number 1 seed, and there's maybe the last game of the tournament doesn't. I want him in every minute of every moment from here on out, and unless you gotta pull him, which is probably gonna happen at one point or another throughout this playoff stretch run. I expect it to be long. I'm sure he's gonna have at least one bad game.
Well, I mean, that's to be expected. He's a young kid. He's getting used to this, and that's fine. He needs all the experience that you can have with it. That's why you wanted the Eagles to make the playoffs this year. Didn't work out in the sense that we wanted it with Wentz getting the experience. Sorry to bring up sore subjects there. That's why you wanted years ago to have Embiid and Ben play as many minutes as you could in the playoffs. You want your young guys to get that experience so that they can be seasoned and they can be veterans when they're out of this, no matter what the outcome is. It's that important.
Yeah, and Joe, to your credit, he says Elliott is the reason we're a top 4 seed just as much as Hart. Look, Elliott might be my regular season MVP.
He was huge.
That being said, and I look all year I have talked all of the shit on Brian Elliott, right? But this year I said, I really like Brian Elliott, the backup, much, much more than Brian Elliott, the starter. And I remained firm on that all year. He was, for as much as everyone wanted to shitpost him, he was damn good all year. And through the slump that Hart had, he was a steady force. And yeah, again, this Carter Hart might, not to take away from Carter Hart, Brian Elliott might be the MVP of the regular season for the Flyers because, how steady of a hand he was. That being said, Carter Hart plays every minute in net from here on out. That's just, look, if he's supposed to be the guy moving forward, now is forward. I'd much rather see him in. So that to me is the one topic of discussion that we can kind of have. We'll see how JVR gets assimilated back into the lineup because he's going to be healthy. We'll see things like that. But as far as talk goes, yeah, exactly. Elliott is your emergency goalie, Joe.
Yeah.
If Hart has to get pulled because he's having a bad game, that's when Elliott comes in. Other than that, it's Hart. It's all Hart from here on out. Really, that's your mantra as a franchise. It's all Hart from here on out. That's your goalie. You get a veteran backup, and that's it. You're set. For the once in our franchise, for us, Keith, really the only time as Flyers fans we can feel this confident in that. So yeah, I want to see Carter Hart every goddamn minute of these playoffs. Let's go.
Well, it's the second time I've felt this confident, but the Flyers didn't feel this confident.
What was Briz?
No.
Not Briz, Bob's?
Yeah, I was a huge Bob fan. I was huge.
Yeah,
on Bob.
So was I. But I also...
Now he's a Vezina winner.
I also liked... at the time, I defended the Briz move. I still love Briz just as a personality.
I love Briz.
I miss talking like Briz. But no, obviously, now that we can see you were right. But yeah, I did. I liked Bob's even then, but it was like, well, you gotta trade him because you just signed Briz for, they're still paying him out until I think next year.
Something like that.
So, yeah. I digress. Outstanding. But yeah, as far as the Flyers go, that's my little. Let me try to bring up real quick Facebook, and I know we got some answers on Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. We did post a poll last night.
Joe got me there. He goes, at least it ain't Bobby Bonilla.
Is that Bobby Bonilla's baseball, right?
Yeah, he is. He's the Mets. They some.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's. I was like,
he's paid for another 20 years or something like that.
I was trying to make I was like, why is Bobby Bonilla's name coming up? That's right. Yeah, they're still paying him out. Trying to bring up our answers. We also have our morning poll to get into, and we'll get into that one next. Once my page loads, here we go. From Lyndon, both goalies should be healthy by the time the playoffs start. I would go with the kid. Quinn says Hart in every game, needs the experience. Rob Nelson, I like this one. I like the ring of this one. This is like the chant for the streets. Hart deserves the start. Hart deserves the start. And then Briz was a nomination, which is funny because we were just talking Briz. But yeah, that's like, we as Flyer fans, it's not always as unanimous of a decision, but it's like, how do you really argue against it? We all want to see Hart. He's played really well for the most part of this season. He had that one hiccup, and again, Moose did excellent in filling in for him. But Philly's about to be on the clock. That'd be nice. So yeah, that'll be the Phillies are on the clock. Keith, you got anything on that?
No, absolutely not.
He's like, name me. No, but yeah,
that was a Greg Hall thing.
Yeah. We'll hopefully have him coming up soon. I actually just realized we haven't gotten an update on his health, but Greg he's under the weather, so we couldn't get him on this week. So wishing the best to Greg. As always, make sure you give a shout out, or make sure you give a check to We Podcast and We Know Things. Really good podcasts. Lots of nonsense. I mean, that's their topic. So yeah, Flyers, Sixers and Flyers parades in October. I might have to get pushed back a little bit, but
it might be a virtual parade.
I believe one of those, Joe. And believe it or not, if you had told me at the beginning of the year which one of those do I believe, you would have said at the end of the year that I would have said Flyers, I would have laughed. But no, I truly believe that the Flyers have a damn good shot at winning the Cup. I'm not rah-rahing. They put themselves in an incredible spot. They have when everybody else is going to be playing for their lives, they're going to be playing in this little round-robin seeding tournament to warm up. The Flyers are in a great spot. And on top of that, they're talented, they're healthy. Let's go. I mean, as a Flyers fan, you have to be excited for this. As a Sixers fan, let's change gears. How do you feel as a Sixers fan, Keith? Because, we are moving into this NBA tournament. We got the dates and we're starting again. How do you feel about the Sixers moving into this?
I feel pretty good about it, actually, because if there's one thing that I do know, that they needed to get healthy, and they needed to get to the playoffs, and they're going to get both of those things. So, for me, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I feel better about it now than I did during the season? Yeah, I think that the late additions that they did were okay. There was no impacts to be had, really, no major ones. So who they got as role players really kind of rounded things out. It really comes down to, what did Ben Simmons and what did Joel Embiid do in their free time during this shutdown? And if you saw the video of Ben Simmons, it looks like he went out and got absolutely jacked.
Look, I'm never going to deny that Simmons is a gym rat. Like, I've always given credit to his work ethic, but I don't, like, I'm not going to get, look, for one, it's great, okay? I love that these guys, like, even Embiid was trying to get into the Sixers training facility during, like, the Corona lockdown. I love that. I love that these guys are hungry. I want to see that. But I'm not going to get excited about seeing Ben Simmons in the gym. I want to see it on the court. And as far as these guys, like, I don't even need, again, what have I said all year? Like, forget the jump shot, just attack,
yeah,
and hit your free throws.
Yep,
I care more.
He started to do.
Yes, you're right. Exactly. So that to me, and this year, through the beginning of the season, he was not. But like you were saying, toward the end, started hitting the free throws, and that I care more about. Get to the rim, because he's not going to be aggressive Ben if he's missing his free throws. But if he's at least doing that, attack the rim at will. Because no nobody can defend it. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, Joe, you are correct. Jay Richardson.
yeah, I mentioned when we were
Huge.
talking about all of the players in both teams, Flyers and Sixers, getting healthy. I said, yeah, Richardson's hamstrings are good now. Let's not forget, because he look, what Moose was to the Flyers, Richardson is to the Sixers. And he might even be more of like an unsung hero as far as intangibles than we know.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's all. I mean, obviously, we didn't put the mileage on Embiid, so he's well rested. We didn't put the mileage on an older Al Horford, so he's well rested. I think these are all huge things that come into it for the Sixers.
You say Al Horford's name, my acid reflux triggers.
I know. I saw that face on.
You didn't see the hand gesture. Chat did though.
No, I have that screen.
I was
up
gonna
right
say
now,
I didn't know if you saw. It wasn't this though. This looks like money when you do it here. He was feeding the geese. Yeah. All that muscles mean nothing. Look, and again, the jumper is one thing, but just attack the rim. If you can get to the jumper too, that'd be sick. But I don't think that, I'm not gonna. I thought we would get through an off season. I don't know if we're gonna get that through a pandemic. We'll see. But there's still ways for this team to win, despite that. Tobias needs to hit his threes.
Yeah, that's huge.
Jay Rich he's got to be the guy that takes the shot here and there. He's got to also hit his threes. What are we gonna get out of shake? Because he was hot. He was really hot towards the end of
he was coming along.
The regular season, what we can call it now. Believe it or not, I'm not Joe. I don't think I've ever suggested that you were. I probably called myself more of a dummy with basketball than you. I would never say that. Nick Bitsko, he's from Central Bucks East. Keith and I went to East for a hot minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know anything about it.
I guess why is that a Phillies prospect, Joe? But yeah,
it looks like it.
My girlfriend Jay Ziggy, who's in chat, she's a CB East alumni. Or is it alumnus if you're talking about one person? Alumnius.
Alumnus.
Ranked the best available right now. Well, let's go. I mean, that's the Phillies. That's what they'll do then. But yeah.
Oh, he's 17.
Oh man, it's that. Yeah, he's coming. That's a Phillies pick right there. They love the high school. They love the high school picks. Stash them, and then they never amount to anything. Or you could get a guy who like Aaron Nola, who was deemed MLB ready. Oh, and he was ready in a year, and he's damn good. Who knows?
Yeah, just I'm looking at it, and they're talking about. They're like, oh, Jesse Biddle knows the challenges he's going to have. And it's like, why you got to bring that up?
Moniak will come up in 2030. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So Don Brown will make his second return.
I just got a bad taste in my mouth.
From Don Brown?
It's the second time I've heard his name today.
Oh, no. That's not... my acid reflux just triggered too. Actually, it's yeah. That's not good to hear Don Brown's name twice in one day.
Because the draft is on everybody's minds, and people are talking about that. By the way, for those who don't know, it's a shortened draft. It's 5 rounds, so like you don't get those picks in the late 20s like Don Brown, who was supposed to be a football player and probably should have stayed as one and never played baseball. But at the same time, maybe we could have traded him.
Yeah. I digress. Keith digresses. Yeah.
Don Brown going to take over for Bryce.
Yeah, in 13 years. Yeah, he literally had like 1.5 months of straight. He made an All-Star game, and then that was. I bought that All-Star shirt.
You did.
It was the City Field was the where that All-Star game was held. So
it was.
So what made this shirt even worse was that it was Mets colors. So yeah, I have a picture. I have a picture of me at the Yingling Brewery with that on. That's how every time I see that picture, I'm reminded you're an idiot. You bought a Don Brown's jersey.
I have a Doc Halladay Arizona jersey from that one.
Yeah,
That All-Star game,
that's
and
a
I
good
love
one.
that.
That's
Yeah,
a
because
good
it's
one.
got the snake print on the wording and all, and it's great.
Yeah, I had the Aaron Rowan All Star jersey. That was the one from way back in the day. Yeah, I got a Hernandez jersey. The jerseys are the way to go for baseball because they're like you can wear them to the park. You know what I mean? Like, cause wearing a baseball jersey to the park, it's like it looks good,
It
but
is.
two things: hot,
I would say, and the food risk.
mustard.
Yeah.
I could go chat. I could go into that closet and show you every baseball jersey that I own. 100% mustard or ketchup stain right here. Right here.
There's only one that I've worn to the park that I've managed to not do that to,
Yeah.
and that's my Jamie Moyer World Series champions jersey
Oh,
because
yeah, that's the good one.
I will literally take it off to eat while I'm at the park.
Yeah, my Shane
That-
Victorino one ruined.
Yeah.
Ruined.
That's my Jimmy Rollins '09 World Series one ruined, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. um. So yeah.
But I do have a Bryce jersey now, so I got the baby blue with the maroons. I love that.
Oh, Keith, guess what? The Phillies drafted somebody in high school. But yeah, and this is coming from Joe in chat. Thank you for the
Thanks for the updates, Joe.
But Mick Abel. Now, is he able? Is he willing? Is he able? We shall see.
Ooh.
That's the Boomer. That's the Chris Boomer in me. Ah, he's willing. And God, I can't stand that dude. Is it Chris Boomer? Yeah, it was the one, right? 'Cause he had Boomer Esiason and then Chris Boomer, right? Must see Holiday 3030. Yeah, I haven't seen that actually.
Yo,
So
it was good. It was good.
It's gonna be a tearjerker, right?
A little bit.
So that's why I haven't. That's why I haven't seen it yet.
It's gonna hit you hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, all you have to do is show me a clip of him and Ruiz embracing after the perfect game or the no hitter, and I'll start crying. So to show something that's actually sad, oh yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, and they cover. I mean, it's not even like the baseball. I mean, they do cover the baseball, but they talk about like his struggles with mental health and addiction and stuff like. And it's just, it's rough. I mean, you hear his son talk about it. You hear Brandy talk about it. His wife, and you hear teammates. And you know who makes an appearance on it?
Who's that? Gritty?
No.
I'm sorry.
One of your favorite Phillies of all time.
Shane Victorino? Darren Dalton?
Kyle.
I was gonna say Darren Dalton's passed. Wait, no, you said this tongue in cheek. Just be better than Kyle. Yeah. No.
If Darren Dalton made an appearance on it, I mean that'll be a little morbid.
It could have been past footage. So that's like what I thought in my head. But then,
okay.
yeah,
I thought you were literally talking about propping up a corpse, and I was like, that's
no,
dark, dude.
man, come on, no, not that. No, I don't do that live. I don't talk about that kind of stuff.
That's usually the dump button excuse thing that we need for you on Radio Bucks. That's not my fault.
That was morning show. That was morning show. It's different, and that wasn't about Dutch. Oh, it's my boy. Right on, fight on. So yeah. It looks like Abel's a pitcher, righty, from his pictures. This is me trying.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a righty.
I'm acting out the pictures, and I'm like, that's the right hand. Okay.
I looked it up.
So the Phillies still need a left-handed pitcher starter. Yeah, and we'll get more on that when we can get Greg on. We'll have him do a complete breakdown of any and all of these picks.
Because there'll be 5 of them in total, so it won't be too much to go over, but that'll be perfect. You can give us a nice in-depth on it.
What's that, Keith? You want to stay on until the draft is over? Well, let's go. No. I digress. Dude,
I got ice cream to eat, man.
Oh man, now I gotta go get some. Oh no, I ate my ice cream sandwich when I got home from work. I don't have any ice cream left. It's gonna be a bad night. But yeah, as far as trying to get back to the Sixers actually, because here's the thing, and we posted it up, and this will probably be our final main point of the night. I guess real quick, I would like to talk before we get into it. Wentz has been working out with Rager and Whiteside.
I'm in.
I love it. Because,
I love it.
First off, yes, I want to see Jalen Rager get his reps in. But, man, if there's anybody that needs to be putting in as much work as possible, it's JJAW.
Well, in theory, he's supposed to replace Alshon for you. He is that guy, that big body positional receiver that you need him to really step up so he can take over that spot, and hopefully we can get rid of Alshon. I'm just as disappointed as everybody else is because we took him with a second-round pick, and he did. I'm still trying to think anything. No, wait. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
There was no impact. There was none. The biggest thing he did was that drop ball in the Lions game where he said he had to be better, and then he got worse.
And then he got worse. Does anyone even want Alshon? No. No, he could be on the PUP and or IR this year too.
He could. That foot injury is that bad.
So I wouldn't mind seeing him just pleasantly going away this year and then trying to figure it out again next year. But no, Joe. I've never flip-flopped on a player so quick, and I don't usually do that. But I went from being like, man, Alshon. One of the best things about Alshon Jeffrey is that he keeps his mouth shut, to being like, Alshon Jeffrey is a freaking rat. So yeah, it's really it's gotta be a stressful situation as a quarterback to have a guy like that in your locker room. It's like that dude's a rat. I don't want to throw to him, but I have to. And then obviously you always want to do what's best for the team. You're not gonna not throw to a guy if he's open because you don't like him. You know what I mean? Wentz isn't petty. I am. I wouldn't. But it's getting back to like the more pressing matters at hand. You're gonna need JJ Arcega-Whiteside in the meantime and in the future, because like we were just saying, you're not gonna have Alshon at the start of this year. It's all but settled in stone basically. So yeah, you're gonna need, like Keith was saying, you're gonna need that possession receiver in your lineup in what is now a lineup that's just burners. Or
you need a little bit of variety.
Or hopeful to be burners, and then you got your tight ends, which is gonna be great. You got your tight ends in Goddard and Ertz, or Ertz and Goddard more specifically. But you got these guys to be your possession guys as well. And yeah, if these guys, if one or two of these wide receivers that the Eagles picked this year can pan out and even do something this year, this wide receiving core is going to look decent. But you're asking rookies in a virtual offseason to step up in a bigger role. So, in my opinion, that's why you're going to need, again, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside to be impactful, and to be impactful right away. So we'll see. Personally, I'm not betting on him.
No.
I'm rooting for him, but I'm not betting on him.
That's because you're a smart man.
Am I?
Well, at least in this respect, yeah.
On a Flyers note, AV Coven Coots for what?
Coach of the year.
Yeah. I was like, I'm trying to figure out who I'm like, is this a deal? I was like, is this a trade rumor? Not now.
Who's Av Coy?
So confused. Reading chat, not one of my specialties. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, catch us live, twitch.tv/WarRoomPhilly, where I butcher everything in chat. Yeah, AV Coach of the Year.
Reading in general.
Yeah.
It's not your specialty.
Yeah, I agree with AV Coach of the Year, 100%.
Coots for the Selkie would be nice, but I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah, that one's a little tougher. But yeah, I do think, I mean, I have to look at it, but maybe Boston. But like, Boston kind of had the expectations,
Yeah, they did.
For the Flyers to be a top 4 seed with, hope, but not expectations, I go AV. I mean, that
I think he's a
could
pretty
be
good shot there.
could be my bias, but yeah. A lot of hockey pundits have Coots as the face. Hey,
Because he had a very good season.
let's go. I'm down. I'd be all for it. Um, but yeah, getting back to the last topic at hand, as I do see we're coming up to the hour time, and yeah, I do want to talk about this one.
Yes.
So Keith, it was the morning poll. Do you think Brett Brown will be back with the Sixers no matter what the outcome is at the end of this season? Now, I want everyone to know the wording. We're not asking, Keith, do you want Brett Brown back? Anthony, do you want Brett Brown back? This is us as, as analysts, so-called self-employed analysts. This is what we think. Keith, I'm going to kick it to you. We've had this argument before the season ended. And do you now, with everything that has happened since then, do you think Brett Brown is immune to getting fired this year?
Immune? No. I think if he had a first-round exit, yeah, his job is on the line. But if he wins a round, I think it's pretty safe to say he's back. And I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. I think the perfect storm happened. I think it really did. We are getting Ben Simmons back. We are getting Embiid back. We are getting Richardson back. All these injuries that were occurring was why we had this conversation in the first place, where I said, look, it could that.
Brett Brown calls Roman to save his job.
Yeah.
Look, if there's one person that's like good, because look, Keith,
that's what it is.
I'm gonna try to fight you, but your case, go ahead, make it. It's
everything has lined up that Brett Brown has the reasons to say, listen, like, I need a fair shot with my team. Like, I had to deal with all these injuries, and then before I could even prove that with my reinvigorated roster with the pieces that we said we were missing, I couldn't move forward with it because it got ended early. So we don't know what could have happened had I had the full. So I think for that reason, we're going to see him, barring any explosive loss in the playoffs, I think we see Brett Brown back.
In my opinion, this team still has to make a serious run. I don't know what that is in what will be this newfound playoff tournament or whatever it's going to be for the NBA. But I think the eye test will tell. And in my opinion, Brett Brown shouldn't be immune, is the word I like to use. This is kind of a catchphrase now. I do fear that your points that you made will bring him back, but I'm going to make a firm case on it. At no point during this regular season did this feel good. And we argued about all the excuses the last time this thing came up, but the injuries and this, that, and this team still had the talent. He waited until the season was just about damn near over to decide to experiment with maybe Horford shouldn't start every day. And it's like, in my opinion, Brett Brown just, the lack of accountability from seeing it on the court, where he says like Brett Brown, or he says that he wants to see, eight free throws and one 3-pointer out of Ben a game. Ben doesn't do it at all, either of those, since then. And it's like, it's things like that just kind of, they drive me up a wall. And for as much as I like Brett Brown, for as much as I'm a Brett Brown fan, this team cannot just blindly say he's coming back and give him an excuse for the coronavirus.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I really do hear what you're saying. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Brett Brown doesn't deserve to be in the same category as Gabe Kapler and Chip Kelly. And again, I know I just said that I'm a bit of a fan of Brett Brown. I was a huge Chip Kelly fan too. But I mean, man, those guys, those guys couldn't do anything. Like
Brett Brown
Gabe
is a competent
I mean,
coach.
I don't even know if you can say Gabe Kapler and Chip Kelly in the same, because at least Chip Kelly had some success hot. You know, he started off hot, and then, you know, his own ego. Personally, I think Chip Kelly, the GM, was the problem, not Chip Kelly, the coach. But I'm not
Brown
here to...
has something that none of those coaches have, which is A, tenure, and B, playoff wins at this point.
Yeah,
so
again, that's like, yeah. I'm not turning, because we want to stay focused on this. I don't want to turn this into what Chip Kelly did. I'm not Anthony Gargano. I don't want to just reminisce all day. I want to talk about sports now. Like, I want to stick within the now and not talk about 1986. So yeah, as far as like those three, in my opinion, just to answer your, it's Gabe is at the bottom, Chip, and then I mean, Brett Brown. For as much as I want him fired, unless the Sixers make a serious run, he's still a pretty good coach. We can identify good things about like Brett Brown is at the minimum a player developmental coach, right? That's what even the Brett Brown haters are like. This guy can develop, but then can't coach. So he's at least got one good thing about him. Gabe Kapler just sucks. Chip Kelly is irrelevant. So yeah, best coach. Well, all right. Again, I'll answer this one, and then I'll get back to it. Best coach in Philly right now is AV. And it's maybe Doug Peterson, but Doug Peterson has faltered. If we're talking right now, I mean, the Flyers are hot, and the Eagles aren't playing. I guess Doug Peterson, because he won the trophy.
So, all right. So this is a complicated answer in the sense that, in theory, Joe Girardi is the best coach in Philadelphia right now. In theory, if we're going by championships, he is the best coach in Philadelphia right now. Okay. But if we're going by what they've done in Philadelphia, let's just go with that to make it a little bit more equal, then it's Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I still haven't seen... Again, it's the questioning, like the phrasing of the question. Right now, because the Flyers are at the top seed, the Eagles are in the midst of an off season. I kind of that's why my trigger went to AV. But yeah, you know, right? We got three good coaches in Brett Brown, so and we'll see. Look, I'm not out. Look, Brett Brown. Look, I know I made the joke and that was a good punchline. Brett Brown's a good coach. He just might not be the right coach for this team, but I hope he is. I hope that this team goes on a playoff run.
The good news is you start off with what everything's going to look like is the Boston Celtics, which everybody thinks is a bad thing. But we owned the Celtics this year.
For once, we did, yeah.
Yeah,
we had their number this year. Is that like are the matchups set yet, or
they're not set because I haven't agreed. I
was gonna say that's like the one because every time I like try to look it up, I haven't really found anything concrete.
But that's pretty much like it's being reported on Heavy.com, ESPN had some, like everybody's had something where like this is the projected based on where things are at. So I don't see anything really, you know, then they're supposed to do reseeding after each round has been the last thing. So things can change up. There's been the one where they're talking about just blending both conferences, which is absolutely insane. And I don't want that to happen. But if it stays constant, we're going to see the Celtics, which I think we could win that series against the Celtics, and we could see ourselves going into a second round, feeling pretty good about ourselves and doing something maybe special this year. I don't know if I believe that 100%, but if you get the Celtics, I think you win your first round, and anything's possible after that.
Yeah, and if you lose to the Celtics in the first round,
Brett Brown's gone.
We can agree on that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to argue tonight, which is nice. Because my head hurts.
But if he wins that, if he wins that round, it doesn't matter what he does after that.
See, again,
he's back.
I hope you're not right. You might be, but in my opinion, it's got to go to the eye test. It can't just be.
I agree with you.
It can't just be, you know, even like I honestly believe even the Sixers have to go with that because it's like, who's your opponent? Why did you lose? Like, so many things to come about.
I mean, if they get blown out, it's still possible. I just don't see them getting blown out, I guess is more where I'm coming with this.
Yeah, it's...
Because we keep getting told They're built for the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly. Like, this is potentially where the Horford Embiid thing can work. And where, those two can be potentially a dominant presence. We'll see. Right, and again, how's that going to play out? Like, what's game one starting lineup even look like? So, is Shake potentially still in the lineup? Like, do you go maybe Shake at the 2, Richardson at the 3, Tobias at the 4, and that be your Ben 1, Joel 5? That's potentially your game one starting lineup.
I could go with that.
You throw is Furkan still in the mix?
No. No,
look,
get him out of here.
Speaking of players that were hot, I mean, he was really Furkan hot. Like, and I'm not like I'm saying that to joke because it's
in the beginning of the year. I don't think he was at the end, was he?
Even towards the end. One of the last games of the season was that Bulls game. He put up his career high, 31.
Is that really at the?
I know it seems like forever ago, but that was now what we can call one of the last games of the regular season. It was I know because I was there. It was like February 8th or something.
Yeah, his last game against Charlotte, he had 17.
Yeah, it was right around. Jay Ziggy and I's our 2 year. So that was her part of the date for me. We had some banging seats.
His last 5 games went like this: 17 points, 3 points, 7 points, 11 points, 8 points.
Yeah, but I mean that's been the because you started seeing less and less because Shake started to come into the fold. So,
but that was reverse. That was his most recent was the 17. So yeah. I see what you're saying though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So he's kind of just up and down. So my light decides to just change on me up there.
It's all right.
Yeah. So that that's gonna be the interesting thing or what's to come of the Sixers. It's what's your starting. Look, if you're playing the Celtics, I at least want to see Horford in there game one. Because look, if there's anything we can say, it worked one game this year, and that was game one against the Celtics. Horford and Embiid both dominated that game. So it'll be interesting. And if they lose, it'll be even more interesting. But man, I can't wait. I know I was a little timid on bringing things back, but now that it's like this is going on long enough, and I know I'm not doing anything all summer, I'm ready. I'm ready to just get bunkered in and watch potentially all 4 sports going at the same time, or at least 3 of the 4. So
I would say we'll see about that 4th one.
We'll get the MLS. MLS might be the 4th one.
Okay, that might be the 4th one we have to settle for.
Keith, do the Union have? Do they have a shot this year or like?
Sure.
You're not prepared for that?
I did not. I
was like, I want you to do a Union minute. You're like, nah, it's
nah. We'll save it for when Greg's here.
I love it. Yeah, we'll see as far as that goes. But baseball won't come back until next year. Maybe you got a CBA finishing too. You might not get it next year.
Joe did ask a question there that I did want to get to.
What's that?
Which is, he said, if the Flyers lost in the first round, it would be a disappointment. Easy answer, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't be angry because it's the weird stop-start thing, but like, I'd still be disappointed.
Yeah. Things have changed since like we last talked. I think what Joe is probably saying, and for anybody that's watching on YouTube or anything, Joe is like a dedicated. Joe watches more shows than Keith and I. And if you're alluding to maybe my rhetoric, mid-season or what now is like mid toward the end of the regular season, where I was like, anything that we do in the playoffs is bonus. Nah, not now. It's changed. I do think that there's legitimate expectations now.
Well, there are, yeah, absolutely.
Just because I've said that they could potentially win the Stanley Cup, that's not my expectation. It'll also, we'll have to reassess after the round robin and after the seeding and see who we're playing and everything. But
and see how we're playing.
It feels like the Flyers got to win at least a round. It feels like both of these teams need to win. The Sixers need to make a run, and the Flyers need to win at least a round. But yeah, but I think you said you brought up a good phrase, Keith. You can't be mad. I'll be mad at the Sixers, but I can't be mad at the Flyers. I'll be very disappointed. I'll be pissed, but I won't be mad. Like, I'll be pissed at the loss, but I won't be mad at the team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you know what? Speaking of pissed and mad and upset and angry, do you know what yesterday was?
Yes. So we can go positive in that, but just for sake of it, no, Keith. What was it?
The 10-year anniversary of the last time the Flyers were in a Stanley Cup game.
Yeah, my boy Michael Layton just got scored on short side by Evander Kane.
Not Evander, Patrick.
Evander.
Wrong Kane.
Yeah, my bad. No, but can I flip that to a positive?
Absolutely.
Do you know what happened 15 years ago today, Keith?
I will say that 15 years ago, we're looking at 2005. I don't know. Go with it.
We had a Calder Cup champion here in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, thanks to I saw Riley Kotai. I follow him on Instagram. I think on the War Room Philly.
I did like Kote.
So I follow him actually because he's
He sells CBD products.
Yeah, yeah. I like to check in with Body Check Wellness, but they're always overpriced and they don't have anything that I like. So I haven't tried any of their stuff yet. But yeah, I look for my migraines. What's got me going right now is I found actually Jay Ziggy, if she's still here, found a CBD nasal spray.
Ooh.
And for my migraines, it's literally it's life changing. It's what's got me like up and running right now for the show. So yeah. But 15 years ago, Keith, think about Carter, Richard, and this is me doing this from memory, chat. Joe, you like to bust my balls on my shitty memory all the time. Carter, Richards, Giroux, I think Umberger was on that team. I think JVR was on that team. Man, there were some like there was a dearth of talent. That was the lockout year too. So that was your only thing going on, and that's why players like Giroux and Richards and some of those guys were still on that team because they were eligible to play for the Phantoms.
Now I'm looking at that.
But they would have been Flyers had they not. But yeah, we can final thoughts, pull up a little Philadelphia Phantoms.
Yeah, I gotta look at this roster, man. Like that's what
the
it comes
Calder
down
Cup
to.
roster.
I love how I'm looking at it on my phone. I have a computer right in front of my face.
Oh my God, this was one of my boys too. We were talking about goaltenders. Antiero Nitamaki, my boy Nitty. Oh
Really?
Man, I forgot about Nitty. I for the longest time had his bobblehead. He wore number 1 on the Phantoms. I had a Nitamaki Phantoms bobblehead, and it was look. You want to talk about great hockey sweaters? That Phantoms jersey, the old school. I mean, even the new school one, with that old school purple. Oh man, I want to go out and buy one right now. Oh man.
Yeah.
Who was the mascot for the Phantoms? Oh, the Phantoms. I mean, he was like a, I forget the name, but he had like the blacked out face because he was like a Phantom and he wore the cape. Oh no, I don't remember the name. Keith, you remember?
No.
I forget his name. Joe, do you remember the answer? Was that like a trivia question, or were you actually asking me? But yeah. Just looking at some of these names: Dennis Seidenberg, Patrick Sharp, Yoni Pickett, John Sim, Tony Vos, Parkwood native.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tony Vos, even right here, Philadelphia, PA, hometown. Yeah, I went to school with Joey Vos. That's like
Cool.
I went to school with one of his cousins. Yeah. So yeah, totally forgot about that. Todd Fedoric, Mike Richards, Riley Kotite. I was right. R.J. Umberger, Ben Eager. This team had a lot of talent that ended up coming in and playing Neil Little. Neil Little was the goalie for the Phantoms, right? He's still the goalie for the Phantoms. And Jeff Carter. Like,
Yeah.
you
It's a
can
good
tell
team.
there's a reason
Very
why
good
that team won the Calder Cup, and they won it in 4 or 5, I think.
Very, very short, yeah.
So yeah, I remember I had tickets. I think it was to Game 5, and they won it in 4. But yeah, I had playoff tickets to that game, and I never got to go to it because they won it. It was either I had Game 6 tickets and they won it in 5, like whatever it was, they won it the game prior. Because I remember like selfishly kind of being like, I'm not gonna root against them, but if they lose,
That seems like Pinto luck.
yeah. But yeah, oh man, it was a really good team. Fun to think about some of those names. Man, and now that I look, I'm gonna have to go and see if I can find myself a BOGO old school Phantoms jersey, because I want one for the show.
Get yourself that Nitty jersey.
You know,
Nitty sweater. Excuse me.
For this might be why I'll always do this show video, is so that I can like make stupid purchases on jerseys in my 30s and be like, but I can wear it for my show, so it's cool, right? And then everyone's like, oh, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving in, if that wasn't already the final thoughts, it's time for the final thoughts. If you guys got anything, let me know. Joe's asks if we've been watching any of the 2008 playoff run. I'm just like, so here's the thing. I watched the only game that I watched or did the rewatch for was the Roy Halladay perfect game in 2010. I did that for a couple reasons. One, because like most Philadelphians, I'm a diehard Flyers fan, and they were playing in the Stanley Cup at that time. I wasn't getting a care at all about what the Phillies were doing on Labor Day in May. However, when you start getting notifications and texts and things like that, and you look at the box score in the 7th inning and you see that, oh, this dude's dealing, that's when you start flipping over. But so basically, I never got to watch Roy Halladay's perfect game from start to finish, so I did rewatch that. But personally, I've been watching a lot of esports to still get my like live action fix. And as someone who does this, Keith, you can maybe attest to this. I tried to find a little bit of a silver lining through all this. And while I hate that there's no sports, I was like, well, I can take a break, and I don't have to, like, when I get home from work, I don't have to rush.
Yeah, I can decompress.
You know what I mean? And as much as I miss it, I'm trying to just be a little different right now in what's the new normal, everyone's favorite phrase. But yeah, no, I haven't. Did I say Memorial Day?
You said Labor Day.
Yeah, I meant Memorial Day. Memorial Day is May. That's what I always try to do to remember it, yet I always screw it up.
It's not like your birthday is around it or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did. I watched the doc. I rewatched that, and I got emotional at the end of it. Like I said, I could watch the saddest of movies, and I won't get. But if you do superheroes or sports, I just start bawling. Spider-Man died. But yeah. So yeah. As far as Shane with the granny. Oh man, trust me, I can think about any of those memories and moments just like that. I can do it. The Shane Victorino walk off, or the Shane Victorino walk, which led to the Matt Stairs walk off. Both great moments in that I can remember. But yeah, final thoughts, Keith. Anything we missed throughout the show? Any nonsense that we missed? Chat. Now's the time to get it in. But yeah, anything else, Keith, that I missed?
I got nothing. I completely forget.
No.
I had something. I can't remember it anymore.
He said,
Yeah, well, I guess I apologize for my twitchiness today. I've been sunburnt. I went to the beach over the weekend and I got a little crispy, so I've been like itching everything.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Yeah, that's all
um,
good.
but yeah, again, thank you guys. All let's go PS5. Yeah, I guess so. The one thing that I would miss about PlayStation is the Spider-Man game looks really dope. But again, that's not really like so. What I do a lot with platformers is I buy them because they look awesome, and then I just never play them. Like I end up watching speed runs of them and stuff, and like I don't know, I just never end up playing platforming games. So yeah. What about the Tony Hawk remakes? Yeah, that's actually a great final thought because the only thing about the Tony Hawk remakes that's really bothering me is that. And speaking of which, Tony Hawk just had to get like his hand put back together. I don't know if you've seen this, but dude is still shredding, and quite literally his hand. Uh, he's got full baldy vision now with his ring finger. They had to cut his ring off before they did surgery to his hand. But that's how they had to get. That's how screwed his hand was. That they couldn't do this with a ring because it was like. But yeah, shout out to how old is it's a good let's go to the cloud on that. Tony Hawk's got to be pushing. He's got to be in his like upper. He's 52 and
Yeah, I
he's
would say
still
he's 50.
he's still killing. Like seriously, watch videos. This dude is still shredding on a skateboard. Like he's not doing a 10 or a 900 anymore by any means, but I mean, what a god. Completely like popularized. Like Tony Hawk is what Tiger Woods is to golf. Just like completely brought a generation into it. And back to like our final thoughts, I guess, segment, our topic. That game, the Tony Hawk's games, were just as pivotal of a part of the the skateboarding movement. But yeah, it's insane. Yeah, Tony Hawk older than my dad. How about that? So yeah, it's insane how good Tony Hawk is still. Um, Tony Hawk, Tiger Woods' most polarizing figures when we were. Well, polarizing usually means that there's like, back and forth, and I would just say that they were just straight up popular. Like they were just like, like Barry Bonds is polarizing. You know what I mean? But I digress. I think it's about time to wrap it up and chat.
Yeah, it's ice cream time.
When we start talking about Tony Hawk's age, it's about time. I feel like we got into it because of both of them. Yeah, absolutely. Like I skateboard because of Tony Hawk. I golf because of Tiger Woods. Like hands, or I skateboarded. I don't. I could even probably say I golfed because I just got tired of raging. I haven't golfed in a minute. I am thinking about maybe heading over to Ben Salem and hitting a driving range. I haven't swung a golf club literally in 2 years. And that's a good final thought to end on. Once again, chat, thank you guys all for tuning in. You were fantastic, outstanding, as the Briz would say. So yeah. Wouldn't be doing the show if you were still skateboarders. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, again, thank you guys all for tuning in. It's been an awesome chat. You've been wonderful. The fact that you guys have been so lively and active throughout all of this has been awesome. Thank you guys all for the support on Facebook and everything else. That's facebook.com/warroomphilly. But yeah, on that, you got anything, Keith?
Nope.
Well then, I am Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith Malashevsky.
And we are out of here. I'm giving the Go Tyson. Yeah, I'm giving the peeps a